as an expat, living here in France. Hang on, scrub that, as an immigrant living here in France. I must admit, I agree with everything this lady is saying. She's making reference, she is, to future wartime efforts, where we may need to call upon other nations to help with our security or our safety, our children. When you consider what happened in the 1940s, we used to send our kids up north to Yorkshire and places like that, you know, so they didn't get bombed in the Blitz and killed. But what if the United Kingdom was attacked with missiles or what have you that have more devastating effect? Yorkshire might not be safe. Scotland might not be safe. The whole country might not be safe. But the future of the United Kingdom, or the British people, the Irish, well, they might need somewhere to go, you know, the children, that is, to protect future generations. Now, what she's saying is this.
We are a nation of migrants, and there's hardly probably anybody that lives in the UK that doesn't originally come from somebody who migrated here.
My parents. Well, my mother anyway. Well, my dad was Norfolk, can you tell? But my mother, she was from India. She was caught Indian, but that makes me 8th Indian. Came over in the 60s on a boat. Not a little boat, a big boat.
We absolutely should open our doors, and people keep going on about, there was mentions about, well, if they're illegal, I heard somebody on the news yesterday said, but if they're illegal, we've got to put them somewhere. They're not illegal. They are migrants from somewhere. I mean, what would people feel? I'm a teacher, and I often speak to my kids about this. I say, how would you feel if something suddenly happened here, really suddenly, you didn't expect a war, something, and we had to send our children somewhere. We had to flee somewhere. Wouldn't we expect to be seen with open arms? You know, and for me, I think we should be embarrassed about it. I think it's an atrocity.
What do you make of Suella Braverman using language like invasion, or Lee Anderson, the deputy chair of the Tory party?
You can't possibly record or print what I would say about her.
Me too. So she got that right. Okay, it's recorded for a little while ago. That's by Joe. Yeah, so interviewed by Joe. So it is. There are good people out there still, you know. There are, and we do get mocked a lot. The British people get mocked a lot, and we're not all like that. It's just that those who get slammed all over the internet, in the newspapers, are the loudest people. Decent people aren't generally the loud ones. You know, you get the occasional loud, decent person. You know, people are getting angry about the way people have been treated and what have you, but then you've got the likes of Nigel Farage. That fascist, bigot, racist. In my opinion, of course. I'm sure it's other people's opinions as well, but, you know, if we don't embrace other nations, how can we secure our futures? If we're showing animosity to EU nations, how can we expect them to welcome us with open arms, without mocking us? How? Now, don't get me wrong, I really, really want to rejoin the European Union, because that's obviously the start, not the start of all this, but it's basically a bomb was put under our security. We don't have access to the securities we did once before. The only access we have now regarding EU security systems is for the purpose of crime. In the sense of, like, for instance, people who have murdered somebody. And they've got no access for automotive or anything like that anymore. So we'd just cut ourselves off at the feet. We really have. That's why we're not moving anywhere. You know, because we've just cut ourselves off from the European Union, which is obviously our closest trading partner, but also security partner really as well. It's not just the United States. We've got 27 member states all building up their security at the moment, and they are our front. They're the front line to Russia, really. You know, Know what's going on in Ukraine at the moment? Ukraine's more likely to rejoin, or just rejoin, to join the European Union before we even get in joining the European Union. I know we were a member before, but technically it's joining. And I just interviewed Mr. Donnelly from the Rejoin UK party. He seems alright. He seems a nice enough chap. He seems to know what he's talking about within reason. Okay, he has certain opinions I wouldn't necessarily come in line with, but they don't sound right, does it? Because we're all different people after all. And just like citizens in the EU, European Union member states, whether it be German, French, Portuguese, or whoever, Spanish, whatever, but they're going to have different idealisms to British citizens. But one thing we do have in common is that we want our children to be safe. We do. Just for instance, I don't know, Russia moved west and started gobbling up more of Europe. Well, then European nations will probably want to send their children west, so they're safe. Like we'd probably, if anything happened, regarding the United Kingdom, we'd probably quite can you help us out here? Are they likely to say no? Probably not, but they'll prioritise their own first. Why wouldn't they? They've got responsibility for that, haven't they? So it's not just about sovereignty, which we've pretty much sold off anyway. We're giving it away. It's about security. Security in numbers. Now, I think you say, well, okay, we're members of NATO and stuff like that. But that is more about defence. Even though some people say it's offensive, that's rubbish. I had some in the comments earlier. But I do still read the comments. I'm not responding as much as I was because I'm a bit down about the channel and what have you. But just they were going on about Afghanistan and stuff like that. It's just and Iraq. Oh, crikey. People. There's no strangers folk, they say. No strangers folk. So you tell me, what would we do? If we needed the European Union member states, say for France, for instance, we needed their help. And they said, sorry, we've got to prioritise our own. Whereas before they'd be more open-armed because obviously we're in the European Union. Theoretically, you could just send them there. But you can't now. What do you reckon? What do you think we're going to do now? Send them all to the Shetland Islands? Yeah, Hebrides? Apparently it's quite nice there this time of year. Oh dear. Foolish. Go on about sovereignty and security of the country, and all we've done is open it up to more risk. We really have. And it's not actually doing what these people want to do. It hasn't stopped the immigration. In fact, it's got worse. France does not have an obligation to the United Kingdom at all. France has got an obligation to the member states of the EU. And the UK has voted to remove itself from those protections. Just have. You tell me what you think. Please leave it in the comments down below. Toodaloo.